We got this from American Papa Bear. Here's some food for thought. When EBT recipients no longer have free government money coming in as of November 1st, rather than them stealing from the store directly, someone thinks they're going to be waiting in the parking lot to steal from you as you go to your car. All I can say is try that in a small town. Stay strapped and stay vigilant out there, patriots. Listen to this. This woman makes actually a pretty good point.
And people are going to start, I'm telling you, this is going to be a thing. People are going to start, instead of stealing groceries from the stores, they're going to start watching people go to their cars. And they're going to take all of their groceries. And you know what the store going to do? Not our problem. Not our business.
And they're correct.
It's outside the store.
Not what's on their private property.
They didn't do it in the store.
Yeah.
It's not our property.
If it's their parking lot, it is.
Call 911. Yep. Call the authorities. Make a report. They're going to leave your ass for dead. And people are really going to...
I'm just going to... Why am I supposed to call the supermarket for help when someone's robbing me?
Well, also...
Wait. So a man's pointing a gun. Shop and save. Help. What?
Oh, man.
Let me play more. Sorry.
Stealing people carts of groceries out of the grocery parking lot. I'm telling you.
So I actually agree with her. And then we have this from Just Loki says, food stamps run out, riots, Insurrection Act. It can't be that easy. And then he's got this tweet that says, we are out of Band-Aids and duct tape. Democrats, stop this madness. And then he has this post where he says, looming food riots, a communist insurgency in New York City, and patriotic WASP industrialists supporting the federal imposition of law and order. I can autism spiral about that for a while. This must be what 1905 felt like. I'm just going to say this. If 42 million people can't buy food all at the same time, it's not that our concern is everyone's insane. It's that a tiny percentage of this, I mean, let's say 1% of this cohort, 420,000 people start smashing up grocery stores and stealing stuff, robbing people in the parking lots. It's going to get absolutely insane. Really so bad. I said it before. I'll say it again. I cannot imagine a scenario where the Trump admin or even the Democrats allow this to happen. But here's the thing. If Trump is truly playing a game of chicken, saying Democrats can vote yes on our budget whenever they want, I don't see Trump backing down. Will Democrats?
Well, it's bad news for the elderly because they depended on being Walmart greeters for all these years, but they're about to replace them with like Navy SEAls. It's going to be like Mad Max. In the
it was going to be robots, but now it's SEAls.
Bringing out my Oreo cereal. I'm just getting jumped every time. It's like, yo, can we get a greeter over here?
It's going to be a Navy SEAL strapped next to a robot dog with a rifle on top, and he's going to say, greetings.
Yeah, he's going to check your receipt and then just sprint out.
Dog's going to follow you. You see that viral video from Burlington where they stop you at the front door and take a picture of your body?
Wow.
You haven't seen this video?
No.
Oh, bro, I got to pull this up for you guys. Let me see if I can find out where this one is. I asked the crew to pull it up for me, and I think
I wouldn't be surprised if violence does start popping off places. You might see some stores and some companies decide it's not worth it to open up. And then you got a whole nother thing. I was like, why are you going to open up your doors for business if you're going to expose your employees and actually your entire store to those type of losses? They might just decide to keep the doors closed.
Well, yeah, this happens. Grocery stores go, there's a lot of crime in this area. Stuff gets stolen off, and we're not going to build a grocery store here. We're not going to open a new location here. And then lefties go, these are food deserts. It's like, all right, well, if you don't want food deserts, you need law and order.
Mm-hmm. Right.
David Dorn was asked to defend his friend's place from riots. And look what happened to David Dorn. I mean, this is, I worry about that being the next step if it goes like this.
And that was televisions, right? That was electronics.
Yeah, it was like a pawn shop. Yeah.
So, I mean, that was not Staples.
Right.
This is going to be a whole nother class of things.
Yep.
This is going to be a whole, look,
I
would say this 40 million cohort of Americans, they're not preppers.
Yeah.
They don't have tubs of dehydrated food.
Right.
They're not ready for this. They're not.
And the private
they don't have an option.
And it's not hyperbole. Like, we have a great example in South Africa. Like, I was there recently, and you go to the grocery store, and the private sector does address these things. There is stopgaps in place, but what it is there's dudes like locked and loaded standing outside of the grocery store to like maintain law and order, and it's like, do we really want that in the United States? I mean, that's in South Africa. Like, do we really have to deal with that here? And it's like, well, it could very well.
I do feel terrible for the people that are living paycheck to paycheck, not abusing the system. And like Seamus was saying, I wish there was a way to discern to get rid of these people on the program who are abusing it and have been abusing it for years.
Yeah, it's
And this-
and just at every level. That's what I said earlier. It's just the government has distributed the cost of dysfunction onto the productive class, and they're not drilling down on the issue. I mean, like Tim mentioned it, like, you know, fertility is being decoupled from productivity. Like, that's going to accelerate every bad sort of dysgenic drift that we're seeing.
Take a look at this video.
Then let them take a picture before you can enter into Burlington. Look at this shit.
So if you walk out in a different coat,
Y'all won't get nothing out of this.
no, it's
I know. I think
picture.
you're being tracked the whole way when you
just
walk
want-
through these stores. You guys have
they
seen.
want a real
you've seen what
ID
the
on it.
Amazon stores are doing, where they've got 70 cameras in a tiny little 400 square foot space, filming you in every possible direction. And then one day they show up at your house, you get arrested.
Well, it's crazy because
Mechanization.
we have all the technological infrastructure that we were able to build up from having a relatively productive, high-trust society at one point. And even as society's become lower and lower trust, the snowball effect of that technological development has continued. But now we have a low-trust society. So all of these very high-tech tools that are great when you're in a society where people don't need to watch each other all the time because they're trying to rob and screw each other over are going to be able to be, they exist and they're going to be put to use again, spying on everyone all the time.
They will be deployed.
Yeah.
They already are.
Yeah,
but
well,
to a worse
It's
degree.
just the little like
Are they going to rename the Patriot Act the Grocery Act?
because it's the little things that compound that just you don't notice when it's rolled out, but it just makes your life worse when it compounds. Like when you go to a Walgreens, you got to like wait for some employee to get deodorant. Like I was at Walmart recently with got my basket. And I look down, there's a security tag on the basket. I'm like, this is like probably a $2-3 basket.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is going on? And it's like 'cause the country just like sucks now, and it all just compounds, and then your life just gets worse and worse, and you don't even notice it getting worse.
well, this
So let me ask you guys, just, you know, how many of you want the benefits to just run dry instantly on November 1st?
I don't.
You don't want
I want them to be stripped down from people who abuse it, but I do feel bad for the families. I know there's
no way to do
no
it.
way.
So considering there's no way to figure out who's abusing and who isn't, you're still okay with keeping it?
It's a hard one, dude. I think of all these people who live paycheck to paycheck, and people are suffering really bad.
You think keep it, Bricksuit?
Not having it run out cold turkey is just not a good situation. So if the government can find some way to fund it, creative financing, you know, it's going to be cheaper to keep it funded than to initiate the cure if violence breaks out.
Which is why I'm pretty much on the same page, which is why we have to remember this is the Democrats' fault for keeping the government shut
100%.
down by
So-
not making a deal.
So you guys think we have to keep it?
Well, I think like the USDA has some leverage now where they can actually start stripping off some of the excess. And it's
Sure, but
That's what I would want.
here's the question. Your option is keep it for all 42 million as normal, or shut it off. What do you pick?
no, because I trust that.
I think you have
But
to.
not keep permanently.
I didn't say
But
that.
You got to keep
just-
it.
we'll
as-
we should
Because
get into that
because
nuance after.
the option is right now.
yes.
It's one or the other.
Right.
If they reopen government and fund it, it's going to stay exactly as it is with all of the abuse. And if they shut it down, everybody's cut off. I'm for cut off.
Yeah, well, my thing is
This is why I'll never be in politics, because I'm sorry. I will never be in politics because I have no problem saying your government has created a heroin addiction for your country. It is destroying you. And I know there are good people that will be negatively impacted by this, but we cannot continue to inject ourselves with an addictive drug that is burning us to the ground.
Are the
No,
politicians being paid still right
In that
now?
case, I'm in.
No.
I'm in.
Can we? Oh, they're not being paid.
They're not.
Well, can we rob the politicians? I'm kidding.
In that case, I'm more like in favor of methadone. Like I'm not in favor of
I
keeping the
agree.
addiction, but we can't
If-
go cold turkey and take the whole country just can't get off of these benefits in one fell swoop.
It's impossible.
Exactly. Like,
Period.
you
Impossible.
completely agree. Like, you need to do some kind of analysis firstly to make sure that there isn't a head of household who has a bunch of illegals living with them. So the welfare is basically going to illegal immigrants. Like, stuff
But
like that has to be done immediately.
No, but brother, it's
negotiation.
so much worse than this. There are people who have babies intentionally to expand their benefits.
But you're going to start crashing,
And they sell
you're gonna-
these benefits.
You're going to start crashing the food producers, and then those jobs are going to disappear, and then that's going to be more strain on the system. So it'll just be a cascading effect.
you know what?
I don't think the economy is resilient enough to withstand a complete and total withdrawal of all the subsidy.
I do not believe there is a reality where what you were asking for, which is the correct answer, is possible. The methadone situation, where we say we're going to slowly start pulling back these benefits. No matter what we do, there will always be people who are deserving of it getting taken away from, and people who are manipulating it getting when they don't need it.
Correct.
There will. I do not. In my lifetime, with everything I've seen, I don't see a political reality where you can stop these programs except in a way like this, because no politician, no Republican would stand up and say, I'll take away your benefits from you. Not even Republicans can say it. In New York City, Curtis Sliwa, the Republican, said, don't deport the illegal aliens. That's what happens when you have these prolonged addictive systems. Because Sliwa knows, if I say we got to deport illegal immigrants, I won't get a single vote. That's what New York is right now. So we keep playing this game of we'll figure it out down the road. We'll figure it out. We never will. Where are we with Democrats? They're asking now for their fourth amnesty in 30 years. And we had Brian Shapiro on the show, and he says, I think it was Brian, amnesty. He says, we need to find a way for those that have been here for 20 years and are working to become citizens. I said, again?
False.
For the fourth time?
Totally not
well,
true,
but hold on. What's the difference? There's a guy who's been here for 20 years. He works a normal job. He's a good person. He doesn't get benefits. Why should we cut him off? Now, there's a moral argument of he's not a citizen, so there's a line for us. My argument is the same thing is true for this welfare system. It is being exploited by a lot of really bad people, and the system itself is a cancer on our country. I have no problem. I'm actually very much in favor of EBT benefits, SNAP benefits, and welfare for most people. But the way I've described it over and over again, imagine it like one day you got a cut on your arm. So you cleaned it off and put a Band-Aid on it and then forgot about it. A week later, it's starting to smell bad. So what do? You slapped another Band-Aid right on top.
Yep.
Starts to smell bad. What do? Another Band-Aid right on top. And now someone says, yes, but if you peel the Band-Aid off, it's going to pull all the necrotic flesh and it's injuring the arm. And you're like, but if you keep doing this, you will die. At some point, you've got to say, I'm sorry, but the system is broken. Now, look, again, I understand. I'm not in a position where I'm going to be one of these people who's cut off. But I'll tell you the truth. No politician's ever going to tell you the truth. They're never going to admit to you that this is a fast track to the collapse of your society. Your children will inherit a pile of ashes. No one will ever say it. They're going to tell you, don't worry, you're special, and I'll make sure you get your free stuff every effing time.
I think it's impossible to undo by design, too. They wanted everyone on this program to make their political enemies look bad when we were like, we should end this. When I talked earlier this year about how I was in favor of cutting sugar and soda from all this stuff, I mean, they were rioting in the comments. I mean, it's unbelievable. I think if you want to be a Maha, and support good health and give, people who are in poverty food and drink that are going to not kill you.
That was the whole thing.
Okay.
That was the whole thing. Like, people deserve choice to buy soda. I'm like, no, we're giving
not
you
with our money.
Exactly.
It's poison
We're
you.
giving you money.
You can have
healthy food.
You can have tap water from your bathroom. The best, you know what the best water in the world is? Second
New York
place.
City.
No. Second place is
tap water's good.
It's got
No.
microbiotic
You are wrong.
crazy things in it.
The second best water in the world is drinking the water straight from the bathroom sink, and the first best water in the world is right from the hose outside.
It's true.
Everybody knows.
I grew up on the hose.
Especially in the summer where it's nice and warm.
Don't clip that.
But that,
that weird metallic
that
taste.
demonstrates like how much special interest is behind Snap, because it's like they paid off a bunch of guys to just shill for soda on Twitter.
Sodagate.
Like with their full like government name on there. It's totally insane. But like, yeah, with the binary you presented earlier, Tim, like I agree, like it would be nice to go cold turkey, but I'm just so worried about getting killed. I don't put it past Americans to kill me over a loaf of bread. And then we're going to get this situation where we're sending Instacart shoppers in, like Rainbow Six Siege, to like get in there and like scoop up to get it back to me. Like, it just sounds horrifying. But no, I totally agree. But yeah, like I was saying earlier too, is just ultimately Snap is just a bullet, or it's a Band-Aid on a bullet hole wound. It's like, to address this rot, yes, if they're going to withhold Snap going forward, this needs to be in combination with a lot of different attacks on these different vectors that have completely rotted out our society. And so if we're going to do it, we got to do it right. Otherwise, yeah, we're going to be getting killed over ho-hos or whatever. And,
I mean, I'm just going to say it again. Look, no politician's ever going to tell the truth because, even with Donald Trump running for office, says no one's going to touch your Medicaid and Medicare because he knows the older generation is a huge voting bloc and he needs their vote. And it's a numbers game. This is the problem with, I was talking about this earlier. I did a video for my Tim Pool, the Tim Pool Show channel. Subscribe if you haven't at youtube.com/Tim Pool and rumble.com/Tim Pool, and I explained why women shouldn't be in politics. Fair. And that is not to say individual women or even most women. It's only there's generalities and in demographics and averages. So I'm not literally. I'm kind of trying to be antagonistic when I say this. I actually have no problem with women in politics because while many people disparage women and say repeal the 19th, I don't agree with that. And when women weren't voting, we had a civil war and we had conflict and crisis, and women are voting, we have conflict and crisis. But the issue is that I brought up, what most people don't understand is that it's not an issue of the individual ever. It's an issue of large-scale demographics. So when you have the largest voting bloc being 70 plus, and they're heavily dependent on Medicare and Medicaid, if you say, for the betterment of this country and the younger generation, we have to stop this scheme that funnels money from young people to old people, you will lose every election ever.
Yeah. Well, if the only
You'll never win.
If the only thing keeping a demographic alive is like coerced transfer of funds from the productive class, that demographic is gone, and everything else is just an accounting fiction.
I want. Are you the only Gen Zer in here right now?
I'm a Zoomer.
That's right. I mean, even Serge is just a young. Oh no, wait. Yeah, you're young millennial, right?
Yeah, I'm young millennial. I'm 30.
Yep, that's right. You're just barely qualifying.
Barely.
I'm a
Barely.
pure
Actually, I
21st
think,
century
was it
Zoomer.
95.
The boomer's trying to hide.
97. So get this.
What year were you born?
Here's what's going to happen.
Oh, one. Oh, wow.
There's only 40 million Gen Alpha. The amount of wealth they're going to extract, I don't mean wealth as in you're wealthy, I'm saying your access to resources. The amount of wealth they will have to extract from Gen Alpha to pay for elderly boomers and Gen X is going to buckle the system.
People don't realize. Well, this is something I really got to hit on because it's not necessarily a specific policy issue. It gets back to our entire understanding of how societies should run. We have moved so far away from any understanding of the principle of subsidiarity in this country and all across the Western world. We need to ensure that things are handled by the most.
You sing that over this?
Yeah, that was that was my theme music for my great epic
Well, it
speech.
wasn't a Vox video or something.
So things should be handled by the most local possible authority. Charity, for example, should be handled. How do you figure out who's an illegal or who's a person who's really struggling or who's a person who's just sucking resources out of the system? Well, if this is handled by communities, if this is a local phenomena, much easier to sort it out. Similarly, how do we care for people in their older age? Well, once again, if the retirement plan for the average person was what it was historically, which is to say you had children or you had nieces and nephews, someone in your family had children, or you joined a convent, but you secured your own retirement for yourself in some way, our birth rates probably would not have decreased at the level that they've decreased at.
Multi-generational households.
Or a multi-generational households, exactly, where your kids are taking care of you and your kids' kids. So the issue is, we moved away from that and we said, well, some number of old people don't have family to care for them. So now what we need is an entire system that defers the costs to everyone. But the issue with doing that is now your average individual doesn't have the same incentives to ensure they have a multi-generational household where their descendants will be taking care of them. So the birth rate declines and you end up in the position we're in now where a huge subsection of the population that makes life as it currently exists possible because they were such a large part of the workforce are about to retire, and they're about to take a bunch of benefits out of the system that the younger generation will literally not be able to pay for. It just won't be possible. You're going to have an awful collapse.
I think part of that has to deal with the shift of the population away from small towns into big cities. And there's like, if you ever drive across Kansas or you drive across Nebraska, there's something I've noticed. I do a lot of driving. You're basically going the speed limit and then you slow down because there's a town, and you come to a small town and there's a main street and there's a park and there's a grain elevator by the railroad tracks. And then 5 minutes later, you're out of the town, and then you drive another 15 minutes and that pattern repeats itself because those towns are in an optimal size for people to be farming the area around it. You've got the community, you've got a bank, you've got your barber, you've got your doctor, and then it duplicates down the road. But in your town, you can't hide. You can't be the degenerate.
Right. That's right.
Because social pressure keeps you in line. And that's where you're going to be at. And once people go to the big city, they can disappear into the woodwork, and that disappears.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.